And so gradually, it's just like coming from high school to undergrad. You have to reset the bar a bit higher for what you expect from yourself and the amount of work you're going to be doing. And so for me, it's just kind of been a constant thing of setting the bar a bit higher and then rising to achieve that, and then you do it all over again. Pretty soon, you're doing a lot more than you would have been capable of earlier. But for me, so right now, the med school is organized in what we call organ system units. So we go through and spend a few weeks learning about everything relating to a specific organ system. So in my second year so far, we started August 20th. We've done the heart, the lungs, the kidneys. We did a clinical week where we learned about physical exam skills, listening with stethoscopes, how to interview patients, and then now we've just started psychiatry and neurology. So this week I have class, usually starts at 8 in the morning. We get a break from noon to 1 for lunch, which usually I go to a seminar. There's all sorts of them going on around the med school. Different interest groups are hosting different talks. So like this morning, or this afternoon, I went to a talk hosted by the surgery interest group, and an orthopedic surgeon came in and just basically showed some videos of different surgeries he does. So just getting some exposure. Other times I go and hear about, there's a really pretty active health disparities group at the med school, and they always have different lunch talks going on, talking about different health disparities, both here in the United States and abroad globally. So I'll do that generally from noon to 1, and usually I'll have class until 4, something like that. The afternoon's generally a lab-based class, whether it's pathology, looking at diseased tissues under the microscope, or anatomy. In the cadaver lab, something like that. So I'll get around 4 or 5, then make dinner, go for a run, and then I'll come back and study. Generally from between 7 and 8 until midnight or so. And get back to bed to wake up the next morning. The weekends are really the time when I have the most opportunity to be social. And so I'll generally be able to go out with some friends Saturday after a football game, something like that. Sunday nights are usually very relaxed. Really all of Sunday is kind of a pretty relaxed day for med school as well. And then Monday we have some opportunities to be social as well, because the week kind of increases in intensity as you go on. And it varies by week. Some units are more difficult than others. Neurology's a lot more time in class than we had for the lung unit. But really, I mean, it's a pretty constant schedule. So you're always pretty busy, going back and forth between school and home and the library. And then when you have your time off, you really take it. Get out of town, or just relax with your friends. Get back home to see your family.
So I'm in a good spot right now, because if you would have asked me this like 4 years ago, I would have said it's awful. I virtually study all the time. I'm in the lab all the time, from like 7 in the morning to like midnight, and I still managed to go out during my PhD. I did a lot of salsa dancing and tango and socializing, but it was always like around 9, 10 in the evening, and I have no idea how I got through it, because I'm sure I didn't get enough sleep. But right now, I'm at a different stage, so I get to be a little bit more independent. Well, a lot more independent, actually. And the cool thing is that if you get to a stage when you can actually apply for your own grants and get your own money, then essentially people are happy to have you in the lab, and they're happy to help you and provide resources, but they don't own your time. So, essentially I'm a person who likes to get up early and do as much as I can early during the day, because I like to have my evenings for myself, my family, my own activities. So these weeks, for example, I get into lab at around 7 in the morning, and that's essentially also because my partner works early as well. And so we both leave at around 6:30. I'm in lab at 7 in the morning. I work in the lab doing experiments, or writing, or mentoring students, or checking out the mouse colonies, all this sort of involved things, maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week. And then I'll be there until around 4:30. And then at 4:30 I will go, because I don't like just go home, I'll take care of my cat, I'll feed it, I'll, play a little bit, maybe, call some friends up, have dinner, and then at around 7-ish, then I'll probably get back to my computer and then work on my other project, because I now have a dual life. So during the day until 4, I'm working on my basic science, and then from like 7 until I get sleepy, then I work on my other project. This is my translational project, and that's sort of like my baby. I've been nurturing it for 7 years, so I just wanted to get launched. So, but I don't feel like it's suffering, because I also really start enjoying what I do. So every time I get to go back to it, I'm like, okay, it's 4. I finished what I wanted to do in the lab, and now I can relax for a little bit, and then I'll go back to something that I really enjoy as well. And that it's not every day, it's maybe 3-4 times a week. And then now on the weekends I have a lot of, usually my weekends I try not to do too much lab work, because I do want to spend enough time at home. And fixing up the house, or going out with friends, or going to museums, or going to Detroit for a show, or whatever else. I like to go dancing, so I dance a lot. But then now, since I'm teaching twice a week, and my lectures are Mondays. I have lectures Mondays and Wednesdays, and that has increased my workload tremendously. So now I have to work Sundays. So Saturday and Sunday this weekend, I was, correcting quizzes, responding to emails, putting together the 3rd exam for the neuroscience course. And, I can only imagine how busy he must be, because now that I've started teaching, we've been sitting here for like an hour, 15 minutes. I'm sure that I'm going to go back to my emails, and it's going to be like, there are going to be a lot of things to take care of. But, again, I really enjoy it. So I don't see it as, if I need a couple hours more and nobody's going to pay me for it, it's not like I'm counting the minutes or anything. It's like, I like doing this, so it's okay for me.
Yeah, what's nice about my day is that I'm a master of my time to large extent, not completely, because, for example, tomorrow we are meeting for our lectures, yeah? Well, I have to know what I'm going to say tomorrow to you, yeah? So today I was already looking at the material we have to cover tomorrow, for example, preparing for it, making sure that I know how to solve all the problems that I'm making you solve, yeah? That I don't look stupid. So there are things that I have to take care of, and I have to take care of, like exactly teaching. I have to show up, I have to be prepared. There are meetings I am on the executive committee in the Department of Physics, also I have to be prepared for those meetings. I am the director of the ADU program. We are starting to do recruitment, setting up recruitment for next week. So those are things which have to happen at the specific times, and I have to make time for it, no matter what. But then, exactly as David said, like today, I come to work. I usually come to work at 8 in the morning, because I drive my son to work at his school 7, 8 or something. Yeah, so I'm at work, and Monday I get articles. PubMed sends me weekly updates on articles on some keywords. So that's actually my day today. I get my articles. So probably I got about 50 articles. Well, clearly I did not get 50 articles. Usually what I probably read like 10 abstracts of articles. But then I decided there are some of them important, so I send them out to my students, and maybe they can present it on Journal Club. Yeah, some of those articles. Some of them I will do myself. I'm reading tomorrow evening for a couple of days, so I have to make sure I have something to read on the plane, which usually is articles, not a book. Then I went to a seminar, 12 o'clock seminar, actually a very interesting seminar. Professor Lovenstein from neurosurgery was talking about cancer, and how we can maybe think of modeling cancer, spread of cancer, brain tumors in the brain. Then I went to my students, and we talked about the research they are doing for probably 1.5 hours. I exchanged I don't know how many emails with collaborators, with students, with other people. But everything kind of depends on me. So there's a lot of time that I can spend how